Welcome back, budget buyers, and welcome back to another review of a car that I've been trying to get hold of again for the last 12 months or so. I've actually had two of these in the past. One I bought about 2 years ago, and I went all the way to Barnstable, I think it was, to buy that because it was supposed to be a John Cooper Works Mini Cooper S. Turns out it wasn't. I bought it anyway. Biggest mistake of my life. That goes by my whole ethos of not going too far to buy a bloody car. Then I bought a John Cooper Works again, but there was a question mark over whether it should have been a John Cooper Works or not. The guy couldn't really say for sure. It had a couple of little plaques on the engine. It had the John Cooper Works exhaust. It had the John Cooper Works body kit on it. Somebody had spent a fair few quid on it, just boy racing it up basically. But I kind of liked it. It had some very odd Star Wars troopers stickers all over it on the outside, which was interesting, and it also had a Marvel Comics dash. Basically, it was like a decal dash kit that you buy specifically for whichever car, I guess, and that was all over the front. And I was going to take that off, but I kind of thought, no, screw it, let's just leave that on because somebody else might love that. And it turned out they did. Some young lad didn't even see the car. He sent a trailer down to pick it up, and he's been happy with it ever since. I'm 90% sure that was a John Cooper Works, but without the certificate, it's really hard to know because there are shed loads of Mini Cooper S's out there that people have tried to make like the John Cooper Works, and they're not. So you've got to be so bloody careful. I mean, I know now what a 1.6 Cooper S drives like, and I know what the John Cooper Works drives like, and there is a fundamental difference, obviously, because one's 165 horsepower and the other one's 210. You know, you can feel it straight away after a bit of experience in these things. So if you are thinking about getting a John Cooper Works, do a lot of bloody research. If they haven't got a certificate, try and get the number off the engine. You know, if you've got any questions on what to look out for on a John Cooper Works, put it in the comment section, you know, because I've asked these questions and I do have some answers. Anyway, back to this. This popped up nice and local again in Plymouth. A young lad who basically got himself a job at a car dealership selling cars. They offered him a nice company car, so he said, well, screw it, I don't need this anymore. So I popped up and said, well, I'll have it then. And it came into me rather relatively cheap. I mean, cheaper than I would have expected to pay. It is a 2002, which means it is getting on a bit, and we're looking at 17 years old now, but it has only done 81,000 miles. And as you can see from the paintwork, it's in stunning condition for a car that's, you know, getting on for 17 years old. The tyres are great. It's got run flats on the back and normals on the front. It's got front fogs, rear fogs. This is the nice kit, I would say, for want of a better word. It comes with the factory sat nav, the factory panoramic roof, which is all electric and works beautifully. It also comes with cruise control, stereo controls on the steering wheel, air conditioning, which has just been redone and is ice cold. What else? It obviously isn't the John Cooper Works. I mean, if we want to talk about John Cooper Works, the biggest bloody giveaway are these little things down there. They're round on the Cooper S, and they're more of a slash cut on the John Cooper Works. Just a heads up. I'm not going to do anything to this, apart from what I've already done, which is basically, I believe the sunroof was sticking a little bit on its travel back, basically this way. And all I did was I got some spray grease and I got it in all the channels. It's pretty much bloody everywhere, as you can see. It's all looking a bit gunky in there now, but that'll settle. And now it slides backwards and forwards beautifully. There is the odd stone chip just here and there, but I've got some colour match paint and I'm going to deal with that. I've done the calipers already. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I do like to do that on a more sporty car, and because you've got the red in the S just here, it kind of matches nicely, I think, you know. And this gunmetal grey, did the rears as well. I've ordered some mini centre caps there. I mean, the wheels, if I'm honest, they do need a refurb, but I think just putting the caps on will make them look a lot better. I've put these caps on here on the bolts in the interim just because they're a £5 off eBay. And I think they make it look nicer. A little bit of a car park dink on that one there, but I mean, again, you could sand that, because they're rubber or plastic, you could sand that off, respray it, or just put another one on. You know, it really isn't an issue with these things. I also got some new Aeroflow windscreen wipers, which again were £7. Upgraded the headlights, bulbs, you know I always do that. The one thing I missed out on was the fog light bulbs while I had the wheels off, because you've got to get the wheels off to get in behind here to get the fog light bulbs out. And to be honest, it is so swelteringly hot down here in Cornwall at the moment. It feels like it's about 30 degrees, and I just couldn't be asked to get the car back up on its jacks and get the wheel off again and do all that kind of crap. I might do it, but I probably won't, if I'm honest. It's just too much like hard work. What else? Nice chrome handles as well. There's the interior. Lovely place to be in there. As I said, you've got your factory sat nav there. You've got the clocks above the wheel, which I actually prefer. Beautiful layout there as well with the stereo. It's the original stereo, and I prefer that for one big reason, because if you put an aftermarket stereo in here, the sat nav won't talk to you anymore unless you get an adapter for it, which is a pain in the arse, and I believe most of them don't actually work. So I'm not going to fuck about with that. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I've ordered a new gear knob and gaiter, because as you can see, that's looking a bit tired. The seats could do with a little bit of leather care, perhaps. This blue and black kind of thing going on, but generally speaking, as again, considering how old this car is, I think it's in bloody awesome nick. It's a lovely place to be as well. I like these frameless doors. It's just a nice little touch there. I put some new mats in as well, as you can see. Nice little mini logo there. As soon as you open the door, it says kind of hello to you. What else? Not a great deal. I mean, I have actually upgraded, as I said, the stereos on the last couple of these I bought, put new speakers in the doors and that kind of stuff, but I'm going to leave this one as it is. I mean, I've done a couple of little cosmetics on it, and I'm just going to leave it like that. I might even keep this for a while, because I really regretted selling the first and the second Cooper S that I got, and I've been on the lookout for another one at a good price for quite some time, in the right colour, with the right kind of bodywork. And this, it looks very honest, doesn't it? It just looks straight. There's a couple of little, I mean, in that angle there's a couple of little dinks in the doors, but there's one in the boot. There's maybe one, no, there doesn't seem anything on that side, and a couple of stone chips, and maybe the wheels need a refurb. But to be quite honest, you can pick these up now. I mean, this is the first generation, first year they came out. You could probably pick one of these up for less than £2,000 now. Not much less than £2,000, probably about £2,000. But if you, I mean, this one's done 81,000 miles, so this might be a little bit more expensive. I'm not obviously going to tell you how much I paid for it. I would probably put this up at 22, maybe 23.50, something along those lines, just because it looks so nice, and it's an honest looking car. And the mileage, of course, I've got some oil and a filter on order. I'm going to do an oil change on there as well, just so I know where it is, because obviously after a certain amount of time, people don't take them to garages to get them serviced. They do them themselves, which is a fair shout. The only thing I've got left to do, as I said, is a couple of tiny little stone chips here. I mean, I'm not even sure how anybody gets a stone chip in the side of a fucking car, but there you go. It's one of those things. But you've got to do it in such a way that it doesn't look too obvious. Really fine-tipped paintbrush, get the right colour code. So I'll have a little go at that, and if it looks like shit, I'll just rub it off again with some methylated spirits, basically. But there she is, 2002 Mini Cooper S, 163 horsepower. 81,000 miles, less than a couple of grand. I mean, I paid less than £2,000 for this, obviously, because this is all about budget cars and bikes. And I would expect to easily get my money back on this after I've spent a few quid here and there. I might get the wheels refurbished. I might even do what I've done a couple of times before and get these caps off and carbon fibre sheet these, because I just think they look so nice. But then, to be honest, it goes with this, doesn't it? So I probably won't. Lovely to have a sunroof, of course, great to have aircon. It's just a good, honest car, and I really like it. Anyway, if you've got one of these, I'd be interested to see, to hear what you've done to yours. If you want to buy this one, drop me a message. You never know, I might be tempted, but it won't be hanging about for long. I might, though, keep it for a while, because, as I said, I really regretted selling the last two. And I love gunmetal grey cars. It's quick as buggery, this little car. The only thing I would say that was a shock, and I'm sure it wasn't the case on my first two, when I went to check the road tax on this, £305 a year for road tax. What the fuck is going on with that? I don't understand it. My mother's got a 2 litre RAV4 and she pays 305. Why am I paying that for 1.6? Is it the age of the car? I just can't get my head around that. They're telling everybody that diesel is killing the planet, yet you can go out and buy a Kia Proceed diesel with the same size engine, and that's 30 quid a year. This is 10 times the tax as a Kia CE Pro. You explain that to me. I don't get it, especially when everyone's saying don't buy diesels, they're killing the planet. I'm at a loss with that, and that was a bloody shock. The other negative, if it is really a negative, is old buggers like me. The seats, I mean, let's have a little look inside here. You might be able to see what I mean. They're not the most comfortable. They're quite thin. It's hard to explain. I mean, the bolster wise, they keep you locked in there and it's really, really nice, etc, etc, but they are a little bit uncomfortable on a longer journey. I mean, if you do a couple of 100 miles in this, you're going to feel it on your back more than anything else. But there's so many different combinations of how you can adjust the seats. Maybe I've just got it a little bit arse about tit, but I find it a little bit uncomfortable personally, but a huge amount of fun. You can throw this around the country lanes all day long, and it's got enough power to get you in and out of trouble, no problem at all. So if you're thinking about, you know, if you've got a couple of grand, you want something that's fun, sticks to the road like glue, it's classic, and it's relatively cheap maintenance because they've been out long enough now. The second-hand parts are pretty bloody cheap, to be fair. Then get yourself a Cooper S. Great car. This is my third, as I said, and if I sell this, I might even buy a fourth. But I might keep this for a little while because there's nothing to not like about it. You know, the only while I remember, in case you've got one of these, the only issue this car had when I first bought it was when you turned right ever so slightly at low speed, it was going clunk, clink, clank, clonk on the steering wheel. I thought it might have been a bit of trapped plastic or something along those lines. Turns out, after a quick Google search, it's a very common fault with the steering rack on these, and what you have to do, I might as well show you while I'm here, in case it's happening to you. All you have to do is take out a couple of screws here and take this little shelf out underneath here, get into here, and obviously where the shaft for the steering goes through there's a little junction box about yay big, plastic. Very common fault. All you got to do is get yourself some spray grease, spray it in there, give it a couple of turns, should be fine. I thought that was all bollocks and it was never going to work. It worked within 5 minutes. I had some spray grease, nice, easy, free, cheap fix. You know, the only negative I had, I was thinking, oh Christ, is the steering box gone on this if I bought a lemon? No, sprayed it and now it drives absolutely perfectly from my mind. It could do with some discs, some pads I suppose at some point because they've got a little bit of a lip on them, you know, but again, it's sub £2,000. It looks sexy as hell, it goes like shit off a shovel, and you know, it's a lot of fun to be had if it wasn't for that bloody road tax. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because I'm trying to get a video out every month now. Bikes and cars, obviously more bikes in the summer than in the winter because I'm an old man and I don't do winter riding, but if there's anything you want me to review, if you've got any questions on any of the stuff that I've so far kind of reviewed and given you my thoughts on, drop it in the comments. You know, I'm always very happy to see that people are watching the videos, and you know, comments, they're great, you know, because if no one's making a comment, then nobody really enjoys your videos in my mind. Anyway, that's it for this one. As I said, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Look out for some more content. There probably will be something coming out in the next 4 or 5 weeks. All right, take care now. Thanks a lot.